Muhami Matters with Chris Adams, powered by CJA Consulting.
Hey, welcome to Muhami Matters, where credibility meets clarity in legal and professional services. I'm your host, Chris Adams, founder of Muhami and CJA Consulting. Today's guest is Janine Lingenfelder, founder of Jelani Sales, sales mentor, and creator of the SNAP method. She's someone who knows firsthand what it's like to sell without fanfare, when leads go quiet, when rejections mount, and when motivation runs low. So in today's episode, we're going to look at how to keep showing up when no one's clapping, which I love. So Janine, I believe, is going to share honest stories, mental resets, and tactical tips to help you stay resilient, consistent, and connected to your sales mission, even when you're hearing nothing back from your prospects. So that's what it's going to be all about. Janine, good morning. Thank you for joining us on Muhami Matters.
Chris, thank you so much for having me. Really excited and absolutely agree. Great topic. Great topic.
I know, I'm very excited. So before we dive right into it, just tell us a little bit about yourself and about Jelani Sales and the kind of support you provide to clients.
Yes, of course. So I am a wife, a mom, and a sunset lover, absolutely a sunset chaser. I am the youngest of 8 children, 5 brothers and 2 sisters. I love the outdoors, and I'm really the heart behind Jelani Sales. Jelani Sales was born in 2019 to truly help entrepreneurs fall in love with sales again, or perhaps for the first time. I truly believe that sales is simply a transfer of belief, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So, so what does Jelani do? I help entrepreneurs, business development teams, as well as creatives sell with confidence, connection, and the most important thing is integrity, without the burnout or the messy sales scripts. So whether you're just starting out in your business or scaling up, I teach you how to build real relationships that lead to results. Through my mentoring and accountability lifestyle, we get to a deep belief that selling can actually be fun.
I love that. And what I really love about it is that when we think sales, a lot of us think really scary. It's just really scary. And,
Indeed.
that's just getting to the sales point. But I guess something that rang true with me when we talked about the structure of this episode, what we could call it, you came up with the title of selling when no one's clapping. And it's a really powerful image, selling when no one's clapping. Tell us a story from your own journey where you really felt that silence.
Oh, with over 23 years of sales experience, I've got quite a few stories to tell you about the silence clapping, but I'll share this one. At the end of 2023, I had a discovery call with a client, and she ticked all the boxes. You know, she was a service-based entrepreneur, and she was building her business from scratch and had a beautiful offer. She was so ready to go to the next level, but she was really struggling with her sales confidence, and that's where I came in. We connected instantly. The conversation was flowing. I could really see where I could fit the gaps. And at the end of the call, she even said, "This is exactly what I need, Janine. I can't wait to start." And then that was it. Silence. And I think a lot of us can relate to that, even after all the follow-ups and the nudge reminder, a total ghost out. This is what happened with me is maybe I said something wrong, maybe I was too pushy, or alternatively, she was busy and it wasn't the right time. So I felt the stung because the silence is not nice. And when we have to be honest about certain things, we always say, "Was it me?"
Hmm.
And I realized, well, at that point in time, I took a deep breath and I reminded myself of something that I tell my clients as well, is that your job is to serve and not to chase. Your worth doesn't really live in your client's inbox or your potential client's inbox. We think so. We obviously think so. But weeks later, she then reached out to me again and she told me that she went through personal stuff. It was just a terrible time for her. So she was overwhelmed even by just popping me a message to say yes or no. She just couldn't make a decision. And what I did as well is I did a follow-up voice note to her, you know, where you can send a nice little voice note. And it was literally not even 35 seconds. It was really a quick thing. And what she said to me after the few weeks later, she reconnected is, "Your follow-up voice note made me reminded me again of my value. And that hit me hard. That really hit me hard. And she didn't sign up immediately. It took 6 months for her to then officially make the decision to sign up with me. But then in that silent moment, I realized that who do I want to be in the quiet moments for my clients or potential clients? Even just that voice note took her closer to her value. For me, that's a win.
So what did that voice note say? What did you imply to her?
It was literally, hi, ABC. I was just thinking of you. I saw this. It was something to do with an animal because she's an animal lover. And we were outside and I said to her, I just saw this and it made me think of you. Hope you're doing well. Check in soon. There was nothing salesy about it. And I think that's what most people miss is they constantly want to sell something. But if you really be authentic and just be you, then it roots a lot of truth in you as a salesperson, regardless whether they say yes or no. It's about being authentic and putting the human aspect back into sales.
So what then did that experience teach you as you moved on? What did it teach you about resilience or self-trust?
It taught me that I can't build a business waiting for people to clap and applause for me. I learned that I need to clap for myself. I need to clap for myself first. That moment redefined how I saw momentum. Not external validation, but rather internal movement. What is it that I'm doing that really makes that movement and that person feel that they are seen rather than unseen? What seeds am I planting? Because if you think about it, you can't rush a harvest, right? I learned to trust the unseen work. I learned to trust the process because the process is in place for a reason. And that's definitely the experience that I got from that.
So was this the turning point for you? Was this where your mindset shifted? And did this inspire you then to help your clients?
Yes, indeed. I realized that resilience isn't loud, it's actually quiet. That decision alone actually made me still believe where she said she believes in her values, makes me reflect back. It reminded me that just because someone doesn't respond, it doesn't mean that your message didn't land. People are navigating so many things today. Their timelines are different, their fears, their seasonings, their holidays. Their silence isn't always a reflection on your worth. And we tend to take a no very personally. And self-trust for me looked like not spiraling into self-doubt, but rather asking, what's the truth I choose to stand on, even when it's silent out there, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And there's been some really good sound bites you've given us today as well. And I'm going to have to watch back and listen back to get those. But there's been some really good sayings that you've said. But something that just struck me is that it's not always about hearing a no. It's not hearing anything. That is probably one of the toughest things that I've experienced and that people that I've spoke to have experienced. So what do you do when you just don't hear anything? So obviously you send a voice note and that works really well. So I think we can all take inspiration from that, but it feels quite
Yeah.
personal when you just don't hear anything. What do you do?
You know what? It's also, I know I can change lives. I know I create a safe space for people. And that doesn't disappear just because someone isn't ready right now. So instead of chasing the outcome, I anchored into the energy I want to embody, like calm, consistency, and of course, clarity. So that version of me is what I really want my clients to remember me as that calm, consistent, and clear person. And resilience, I've learned, it's not really about pushing harder. It's really about staying rooted, even when nothing seems that it's blooming at the moment. And that's what I take from that.
So have you or your clients ever had a moment when rejection hit you harder than expected?
Ooh,
I'm
yes.
sure there are
In
plenty.
there, there are quite a few. I once had a discovery call actually that also went beautifully again, connected, and I just knew that I could really help this person. And then again, ghosted, and that stung. And this is a personal story yet again. And that helped me to reframe everything in the sense of that it's not about me. Most people in the sales environment think that it's all about them. change that mindset, because it's not. It's about where you are at in your journey and how you can help your client in their own journey. So I always say this to my clients, that your client or your potential client's buying time is not your selling time. And I stopped taking things personally and rather getting more curious, taking the no as a learning opportunity, a marketing strategy. That allowed me to show up more to my clients rather than shrinking in the silence.
So then what helped you to reframe it? What you've said makes complete sense, but it actually sounds kind of tough to do. What helped you to reframe it?
It's really not easy to do. It does take time. It does take effort. And I think most of the time people, especially today, you click a button, a burger arrives at your door. Click a button, a box arrives at your door. So we don't really trust the process. So I started reminding them that sales is a skill. It's not a personality trait. And we sometimes think that you're not bad at sales because you got to know. It's it's just rewiring the narrative and ask yourself, what's the belief underneath that reaction? And I gathered all this information and better understanding with my clients as well with the NLP practitioners course I did with Sarah Habubi, where it's all about just reframing the mind and the belief that I'm not good at sales. That's not true. We need to rewire that. So every no brings you closer to clarity. And my yes is inevitable. That is a belief that you can add to your daily habits. It's about owning your value before the client even says yes or no.
Owning your value before the client really says yes or no. Okay, that's
Own it.
another good soundbite. But
You
yeah,
know, put on that superhero cape that owns your value. Put it on. Wear it with pride.
so can you share a tactic or an exercise you've used to help us to put that superhero cape on when you or one of your clients is feeling a bit down? What kind of exercises, I guess, can we do to try and get ourselves back up again?
There's so many, but for today, this is one I did with myself as well and another client, and it's a future self-anchoring exercise. I have clients write a letter from their future self, the version of them who's already living their dream, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So what I say and ask my clients is, write this down. Hey, I know it's tough right now, but I'm proud of how you kept showing up. You didn't let no stop you. You kept choosing yourself. And they need to write it down. They need to show me, whether it's in Zoom or in person, they need to show me that they've written it down, because this exercise reconnects you to your why. It shifts your focus from rejection to resilience. And also it, and this is for me specifically, it reminded me that the best is still to unfold.
Mm. Amazing.
You're just stuck right now. So just use this exercise. I hope you do use this exercise for the listeners, because it really, really works.
Yeah, and I know I'm pausing a lot, but I'm actually really taking it in because I'm thinking, yeah, this is what I need to do is what I need to help people to do for my own clients and for myself. So how do we keep our emotional distance from the outcome? So I'm thinking probably it's about separating business from taking things personally. That would probably make the most sense to me.
100%. It's not easy. It comes back to mindset. It comes back to daily habits. What do you do on a daily basis to create that space for you to stay focused? There's no cookie cruncher here. I do certain things my way. You do certain things your way. Whatever works for you to separate that is what you need to do. When I do phone calls, for example, I stand up, I walk around and I look at a mirror. I've got a tall mirror right behind me, because when I look at myself, I feel empowered, because you love yourself, right? You want people to also love you. And if you are in that zone of empowering, enriching your mind and adding value to the phone call, you feel more empowered. You have that feeling of, I am definitely adding value. My client or potential client can feel my smile, because they can. They really can feel your smile when you speak to them over the phone. If you're frustrated, don't do sales. Don't do sales. That's one tip I can definitely give today as well, is don't do sales when you are feeling frustrated, because it's going to come across and you're going to lose that sale.
So can you walk us through a time when sales were quiet and tell us a bit about what kept you going day to day?
Yes, definitely some quiet times. One was during a holiday season, engagement dropped. Obviously, I think we all can relate to that, where leads dried up. And I started questioning my offers. I started looking at my energy, my effort. And instead of really pulling back, I leaned in, because it's again, it's a learning opportunity. And sales is like fitness. The results come from consistency, not intensity. And that's something I've recently learned. Even though the business has been going for 20 since 2019, and I've got 23 years of sales experience, I've recently just focusing on really not the intensity of how I do things, but the consistency on how I do things. So I focus on what I can control, which is the following up, the general check-in. What value am I sharing with, and that needs to be without expectation. Because I think the quicker you add expectations to whatever you do in your sales, rejection creeps in faster. Does that make sense? I see you nodding, so
Yeah,
that relates.
yeah. Well, I was thinking a lot about, you mentioned consistency. I was thinking a lot about consistency and how much should we just keep following up? Because sometimes if you don't hear anything at all, there's that real balance, I guess, where you think, okay, I don't want to bother this person anymore. They're not replying. Should I keep going? Should I keep bothering them? Or are they actually just really busy? Are they so ingrained in their own work that they just haven't had time for it? They maybe haven't read my emails or my messages. How does this consistency look like when you're just not sure?
This is such a big thing for most of my clients, is that consistency, because they feel that they are too salesy, too pushy. They're begging. They don't like that. And we tend to make the decision on behalf of the client. Follow up is so, so, so important. So for me, it's small things and meaningful actions. A voice note, as I've mentioned, because you can feel the energy, you can feel the rhythm in the voice. A check-in message, it can be a type-in, it can be an email. Or this is what I like to do as well, is a post that really speaks from the heart. It's not about hustle. It's really about the constant rhythm. What rhythm are you doing for your business in your sales process? Progress leaves patterns. And we see this every time in everything that we do, not just in business, but in life as well. So even if I'm not seeing immediate results, I trust that each touch point is part of the bigger picture. Think of it this way. When you saw your wife for the first time, you created patterns. There wasn't an immediate result. She didn't go out to you with you immediately. There was some stuff that you had to do to get her to say yes. So with a lot of touch points, the bigger picture will happen. It's just all about trusting the process and creating the patterns that fits it within your values.
So to create those patterns, do we need to put like routines in place or support systems, or is it just all let nature flow? Like when I met my wife, of course, in love at first sight and all that sort of stuff, and I had to obviously convince her to go out with me. But is it the same in this business? Do we need to like put in routines, follow by routines, or support systems that our listeners could try?
100%. We teach our children to have a routine. Get up, go to school, brush your teeth, eat this and that. As we get older and we move into the business sphere, we tend to lose that. And it's so important for us to have a routine. And I use a 3 by 3 rule, which is really easy to use. It is all about reaching out to 3 people, follow up with 3 leads, and engaged on 3 posts. But this 3 by 3 rule is to be done every single day. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. You're on your PC at the moment, right? We're on our phones constantly. So why not just pop a message to someone and say, hey, just thought of you. I saw this cat. It reminded me of Coco. If you know that person that well, because it's all about connection at the end of the day. Another thing that you can do is get a biz bestie, a business bestie, if you will, that can check in with you weekly. Because sometimes you just need someone to say, you're doing a great job, you're doing better than you think. We just need to hear that from someone outside than our family.
Yeah, no, that really makes sense. I know that it's hard to keep business and pleasure separate as well. So I think you're right. A business bestie is good, an accountability partner. And you and I have played that role with each other before, which I've really appreciated because you've really kept me going sometimes when things are tough. And hopefully, likewise, I've been able to help you out as well.
Indeed, you have. Absolutely.
So how does someone find a business bestie then?
It's asking the right questions as well, in the sense of, I don't need a friend hat. I need a business hat right now, but also with a friend tweak, because you want to be honest and critic in a way that will help you move forward to your goals and closer to your goals. And it comes back to relatability and building relationships and connections. It doesn't happen overnight. It does take time to get to know that person, to say, I can really trust your judgment and I hear you and I can actually take that advice and do something with it, rather than just, oh my gosh, my bestie said yes. That's not what it's about.
Right.
It's about growth and rhythm.
And consistency by the sounds of things.
100%.
So going back to Coco the cat, uh, um, that's quite an interesting point you raise because I don't have a Coco the cat. I've got a Belle the dog, which obviously you know quite well.
Yes.
But that is quite interesting because that means that to be a successful sales, I'm just going to pose this: to be a successful salesperson, you need to know quite a lot about your client. You need to know maybe not their dog's name or their cat's name necessarily, but in order to ask those questions, I think you probably need to know quite a lot about them.
100%. It's about speaking less, and that's one of the talks I'm doing later this month as well, is speak less, sell more. Because the more you listen, the more you take in, and the more you can actually relate and build a real connection with heart, rather than and this also takes time. Again, trust the process and build your own rhythm. But having that consistency of really listening and really taking in, know that you married, you've got 2 girls, you've got dogs, it was your birthday recently. It's all those small things that personalize the relationship and really makes it deeper for you to either get a referral or actually become a client. And it's not fake. People sometimes see this as, oh, but now you're pretending. No, I'm not. I'm really invested in you. I like you. We've got values. We're going through the same things. And we family orientated. Those small things adds up. And if I see you, the feeling's going to be mutual.
Absolutely. It does sound a little bit like when you're, pursuing a crush or something like that. Yeah, I'm thinking of it in those terms. Like really, when you're really interested in someone personally, then you do try and, maybe I'll stalk them, but you find out a lot of information about them. You find out who their friends are. You make friends with their friends, and you really listen to what they say and remember. So I guess you're right. It's the same in business. If you're going to pursue someone in a business perspective, then you really need to understand them.
And with that said, the one thing that is really important is transparency. To right at the front of, say, listen, I don't want you as a client, but I know you have people that I need in my client base. Obviously, as the business and the relationship grows, this is where you have that conversation to say, I really need you as a client, or alternatively, I need A, B, and C, because it comes back to who's your target, know your target audience, who's your client, and. And once you have that, the conversations become so much easier and you feel more comfortable and more empowered to have those conversations with anyone in the room.
So how do people start these conversations? What do we need to do before we start selling? In inverted commas.
Start with connection. Most people know me as the or M&M lady because I love M&Ms, the peanut ones. And that's a connection. That's not a conversation. It is someone is seeing me, and it's something to talk about. It's something to relate about. Um, One of my mentors, Gotham, he wrote a book that it's all about breaking bread. And that is all about having conversations, just not over business or networking the whole time, but actually go out, jog, walk, take the Jeep on the dunes, do something outside of business to build the connection. And I think it's very important to, coming back to rhythm, is pick one person you've been meaning to follow up with and send them a voice note. Just connect with them. Hey, you popped in my mind. Just want to check in how things are doing. Hope you well. I'm not selling anything. I'm literally investing time to check in. That's all.
That's a really good practical tip. Is just that simple check in, and I'm thinking of you, and I hope you're doing well. And if you know it's their
That's
birthday,
it.
you'll know something about them. Then that's quite easy. So I
Thank you.
think that's really good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. It's so simple. It's such a simple touch point that can reignite a conversation because that person, and it happened with me personally, where I just said happy birthday. It was belated. I was 4 days late because life happens, but I at least did it. And that person came back and said, "Oh my gosh, you won't believe I was talking about you yesterday. Can we have a Zoom?" And we did. We had a Zoom, and that person signed a deal. That was not my intention at all. I had no expectation whatsoever. I was just late on my birthday wishes to that person, and I really wanted to wish them happy birthday. So it just reignites a conversation, and you never know what comes.
Now, back to being the M&M lady. So what is quite counterintuitive about that to me is that you've made yourself known as the M&M lady, but you are the salesperson. So that is a good way for people to remember you for your purchases, I guess, your buyers to and potential clients to remember you. Is that what you mean?
It really happened by fluke. It
Mm.
was really not the intention at all. But M&Ms are really my favorite, the peanut ones. And no, it's not because all my different personalities that fits all the colors in it, but it's also about putting fun back into sales. Sales can be so colorful. It's just how you take it in and how you have your own rhythm and how you trust the process. That's what that is to me.
Okay, so if someone is mid slump at the moment, they're really struggling to bring that client in. You've mentioned that just connecting with someone, sending them a reminder is enough, but to at least take that small step. Are there
Yes.
any sort of other journaling prompts or sales actions or content that can help you shift that energy?
Whew, there's so many. Do we have
Okay.
time?
All the
But
time in the world.
but the one thing I would say is, rewrite your sales story. Rewrite in the present tense. So grab a notebook and write down that I'm the kind of person that attracts aligned clients with ease. I follow with confidence and my work changes lives. Those affirmations really hits. And you have to, you have to try and truly believe what you write and keep doing that because it's a style that shifts your energy completely and it brings you back to who you're becoming, not just where you're currently stuck at. Because we tend to stay in that zone of, I can't do this, I'm stuck, and we move on or we procrastinate a lot. I think that's one thing I would recommend if you are in a slump at the moment. And one thing that I also enjoy doing myself, and this is what I teach my clients as well, is to make a post of like a publicity thing on social media. Shout out to Chris for inspiring me this week. You reminded me why I love what I do. Even if it's an old photo or, something about your mom or whatever it is, just write something that brings the gratitude energy back into your rhythm because we tend to get so busy, we tend to lose that gratefulness. So the gratitude energy gets built through saying thanks to someone else because that magic happens so organically that you're obviously going to feel obligated to either like, comment, share, or repost because I'm recognizing you. And what better way to compliment someone on social media in today's world is by recognizing them and highlighting them on social media, right?
Absolutely. You've done it for me before, out of the blue. Oh my God, it felt so good.
Exactly. And that feeling is money can't buy that feeling. For me, when you replied or whoever it is, it's great. It just prompts that gratitude of, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're in my circle, literally and physically speaking.
Yes.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I really do. It's funny. I was just thinking of a guy that I met probably 18 months ago, and he's big into AI, and ChatGPT and stuff was becoming a bit mainstream, and LLMs were becoming a bit mainstream. But he used to love the fact that he could get his phone and just talk to ChatGPT, you know, verbally
Yeah. Yes.
in the ChatGPT app on his phone. And it was only available for Android at the time. Now it's available for iOS as well. But I was
Exactly.
thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking maybe that is a good way to kind of get that reaffirmation and just, at some point when you're feeling good, say to ChatGPT or another LLM, this is what I'm good at. This is what I like to do, and this is how I bring value. Just remind me when I ask you. Just remind me of this, and then you can just have a chat to ChatGPT or
And
have a chat to
and
Llama, whoever it may be.
I love that because that helps him with his sales rhythm and with his sales process. So again, it comes back to whatever works for you.
I'm gonna go away and talk to a couple of them and say, look, I'm feeling really good at the moment. This is what I'm doing really well, and when I'm not doing so well, I'm gonna ask you what I do well, and please remind me.
I love
Uh,
that.
Now, you've got a book, which I wasn't even aware of until today, called The Seven Sweet Spots of Sales. What is that
Yes.
all about? Tell us a bit about the book.
So the seven sweet spots of sales was just a COVID baby, if you will. This was before I knew ChatGPT and all that, to just help me put something in place. But seven sweet spots of sales, again, it puts fun back into sales. And I think for people who's listening right now is what the book gives out is people buy clarity, not confusion. And I think this is one thing most of us did do in the beginning of our businesses is we overtalked. We listed everything we do, every offer, hoping that something sticks with someone. But sales isn't about convincing. It's really about making it easy for someone to actually say yes. And that comes back to saying less to sell more. So yeah,
Say less, sell more.
it sounds easier said than done. I know.
Absolutely, but that's a really good tip because I guess they talk about elevator pitches and all that sort of stuff, but and then the emphasis of the elevator pitch or the underlying message, I guess, is say less to sell more because people can't grasp things that are too long. So is that what other practical tips can we get from your seven sweet spots of sales book?
Try and think of it if a 7-year-old can understand what you do, you're doing great. So try to put in one sentence who you help, what results you get for them, and what problem you solve. If you can put that in one sentence and really say that with confidence, you are already 3 steps ahead. Just to give you an example, I help overwhelmed service providers simplify sales so that they can make money without burnout. Obviously, there's a lot more into that sentence, but it gives some sort of clarity that I help service providers simplify their sales and make money. That's one sentence, and I'm 3 steps ahead.
Amazing. Now, I have had a quick look at your trademarked Snap course. Now, the Snap, I think, is absolutely amazing because it is such good value. It doesn't take much time and it enables people to get a lot of value, I guess, from your services and your time and your huge experience. So, tell me a little bit more about the Snap.
So Snap is honestly, my heart is in that system. It took me a long time, roughly 10 months to build Snap, but Snap stands for Sales Navigation Activities and the number two, Prosper. And the reason I'm putting the number two there is because sales is a two-way street. It's a contact sport. You can't do it on your own. And it was created for those moments where you feel stuck, invisible. You like working so hard, but not seeing results. And that's what Snap is really all about. It really helps you to simplify your own rhythm, find an actionable rhythm that really fits for you and your business. And it's an online self-paced course. It's 4 modules, starting from just introducing sales to people because not everybody is known to sales. So it starts with the module introducing you to sales, talking about relationships, presentations, how to use social media, lead generation, how to follow up. Oh, that is one of my biggest passions. And then, of course, nurturing. You get a lot of resources And some of the options of Snap is you can actually get access to 7 sweet spots of sales as well.
Oh, wow. Cool. That will save me a trip to Amazon.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So I guess in there is a lot about consistency. This is what I'm hearing from our conversation today. The underlying thing is consistency.
100%. People who've done the course, they say it reignite their belief in themselves. And that to me, money can't buy that. It really, it's almost a mindset to engage with leads, build consistency, and finally close with confidence. So I think it's the double C today: confidence and clarity and consistency rather.
So and Snap. So yes, there's a lot of acronyms and a few nice sayings that have come out of today. So I need to go back and write some of these down, and I'm going to pin them up on my board so that I keep them in mind, front of mind the whole time. Now, tell us a little bit more about how we can find more about you. People who here today think, okay, I really want to find out more about Snap. I really want to find out more about Janine's methods. I know we can find you on Instagram, and you're regularly, providing free content. How else can we find you?
LinkedIn and Instagram is one of my favorite platforms. And of course, most networking places you can find me. But Instagram is definitely where real talk meets real results. You'll find, as you've mentioned, you'll find practical tips and also motivational days where I just pick you from the virtual world and in terms of just getting you back into your rhythm again, and some behind the scenes, if you will. It's nice to be your own boss and be able to work anywhere where you possibly can. So I'm not always in office. I am sometimes working from the beach or I'm in a restaurant, and I think that's one of the freedom that comes with being your own boss. And obviously some honest reels and really voice notes that reminds us that you're not alone in this journey. So if you want some humor, mentorship, mindset shifts, Instagram is the space for you.
And what's your Instagram handle?
It's Jelani Sales One.
Jelani Sales One. All right. I've already subscribed, but everybody get out there and find it right now. It's much easier to find that than to spell Lingenfelder, quite frankly. So
I get that a lot.
It's distinctive though, which is nice. So thank you so much for joining us today, Janine, on Muhami Matters. It's much appreciated.
No, it was fun. I loved your questions. It really made me go back to my why and value. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best with your podcast and CJ Consulting.
Thank you very much. That's really kind of you. So for our audience, thank you so much for joining us today. And that's it for all this episode of Muhami Matters. And massive thanks again to Janine Lingenfelder for joining us and for reminding us that showing up matters even when the crowd's silent. So whether you're a very experienced entrepreneur, you're just getting started, I think her practical honesty today has been a real boost. So if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share it with your network. For more insights and support, you can always visit us at muhami.ae or connect with me at CGA Consulting. So until next time, I'm Chris Adams. Stay informed, stay empowered, and best of luck with your sales. Thank you for joining us on Muhami Matters. If you found today's episode valuable, subscribe and connect with me to stay updated. Join me again soon as we continue to bring you credible insights, practical strategies, and trusted advice to empower your professional journey. I'm Chris Adams. Until next time, stay informed and stay empowered.